Okay, beloved, so today we have another message. Of course, as we do every day, we honestly could channel 24/7, but for those of you who are actually interested, even you would get bored to tears with our 24/7 live stream messages. So we limit ourselves to one message a day and pick the highest probabilistic message that we find of importance, though there are myriads out there that we could choose from. So now, how does the collective connect to energies that are floating out there in the ether? You will find that many of the mediums, intermediaries, psychics, novel people who connect to the divine, they all have similar messages, but they don't all overlap. So oftentimes it is somewhat dictated by their own internal mechanism, meaning that if you are interested in one particular cause or effect, you will be more energetically drawn to that particular message than another one. And since we have millions and millions and honestly billions of people that are at our display, and you don't understand what that means at our display, but that's okay, that there are millions and billions of you at our display, that we work with you all collectively to get the overall messages out to the collective. So now, why our another? Why are we here through her? What is the point? What is the purpose? She honestly doesn't ask us much these days because she is so far into her surrender experiment that she, for the most part, trusts us implicitly. And she definitely trusts us implicitly on these messages, even though they don't always resonate with her. She's often critical because she says, she thinks our messages suck, but she posts them nonetheless because she knows that we see something that she doesn't. And so she posts in faith that there is something beyond what she understands or sees. So here is where we are today. It is such a novel idea for someone like her with her past, even though she's talked to us since she was very little. But she just didn't really understand that we were the ones chatting with her versus her imagination, her creativity, her intuitive senses, so to speak, but that it was we, the spirit world, who have been in direct communication with her, honestly, since she was born, but more specifically when she was around 5. But so, the question is, how does this work? Why does this work? Why did we choose her? What is our goal? What is our objective? How is she to help humanity? These are many questions that many of you pose to yourselves, which is, why am I here? Beyond, I get up, I go to work, I pay my bills, so forth and so on. There is a greater purpose for each of your existence, right? And our another was going down a particular path with a man who was actually not well suited for her, and now you know why, for a profession that was not well suited for her because it was destroying her soul from the perspective of it was a very controlling environment, a very structured and rigid environment, an environment where she had to work with unkind, unloving, unethical people. The legal profession, the hedge fund profession, it has its place, but not when you're working for somebody who is unethical. When you are in a relationship with somebody who is unkind, unloving, unethical, it affects your soul. And there just comes a point where the soul says, I don't want to do this anymore. It just doesn't feel good. This certainly is not what I came for. And our another, back in the mid first decade of the 2000 year, she said she just wanted something more. Now, it wasn't a specific request to us. It was more just a general question to herself, which is, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Her year where she had the highest earning of her life, and it was a big sum, and she was sitting at home working many hours a day in a robe, and others would say, oh, you've arrived because of the luxury and the flexibility that you have in your life. And so from a financial perspective, yes, she had achieved her mountaintop, but she said to us, she said, this just isn't what I thought it was going to be. I'm just not happy. There must be more to life. And so by just setting that intention, there must be more to life, and inviting us in, we began to shift things around, and her professional career in that particular environment, it ended. And then she moved in to another workspace, which was with her now ex-husband, and she did that for a number of years. And she still wasn't happy, and she was kind of dabbling with essential oils. There was her Armageddon pantry, because she said, well, if the dollar does implode, we're going to have some serious setbacks. So let's just have a backup plan. She did it with as much love and joy and intention as she could, but nonetheless, there still is a heaviness to this vibration, which did impact her some, because she wanted to be prepared not for herself, but for others, because she thought, if I can be prepared for myself, I can be a resource and of service to others should the proverbial shit hit the fan. I want to be a servant in such times, even though most likely it's not going to happen, but just in case. But it's still a heavy burden. And then she had her liver cleanse. Now, for her, the liver cleanse was pre-designed. Once she chose a particular life path for herself, this was what her soul put into place to awaken her. Now, had she chosen a different life path earlier in her life as pre-designed, her awakening would have looked vastly different, because the experiences that she had gone through would be different. And so, we're up here constantly managing and manipulating to a certain extent the progress and process of your life, because as you make one life choice, it does have a ripple effect which alters your desired life experience. So there's this constant communion between the spirit world and the physical world. Okay, so now here we are now with her, right? So she had all these different things that happened, and here she is now in a really precarious situation where she has no income, no savings, no prospect of either, and yet she continues to move forward with us, because we keep telling her, all is well, all is well, all is well. If you continue to move forward with us, we will bless you financially, as well as emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, that we will provide her with we're going to call it generically the lifestyle, but you all have a different definition of lifestyle than she has. A lifestyle for her is not what the outer world looks like. It is the inner world. And that means that she will be loved, appreciated, attended to, spent time with, talked to, and just honored and loved for who she is fully. And when she draws that kind of self-love through others as a mirror back to the fact that she is love, then the rest of her world, the rest of the puzzle pieces will fall into place, because it's time. So she has no evidence that any of this is going to happen. She has no evidence that she's going to be able to pay for anything or buy anything in the future to support herself and her kids. And yet, nonetheless, in spite of really, if you will, evidence to the contrary, right? She continues to move forward. She continues to channel for us. She continues to offer her channeling services to others as a means of helping others to connect to the divine light within themselves. She continues to help many people privately in her messenger private messages, and she just does her part by helping people in various Facebook groups. She has now applied for the Masters in Social Work program in her nearby university. She continues to support her children. She offers others into her life. She provides loving support to those who are struggling, in spite of the fact that she has absolutely no evidence that her life is going to get any better. But she really doesn't care, because her desire is to be of service to others, in spite of her own lack, if you will, because she's just choosing not to focus on the lack, but instead is focusing on being of service to others. And within that simple acknowledgement that she sets aside her own abandonment issues and lack of abundance realities, she does what makes her feel good. And what makes her feel good is to help others, to be generous, to be kind, to be loving, to invite the right people into her home, to exclude those people who are no longer helpful in her own journey, and to be at peace with it. To say to the universe, I would love for my family to come back into my life, but only if it's in a healthy manner, so that I feel honored and respected. And if that cannot happen, that is okay, because I know that I'm worthy of being treated well. And I just allow you, the universe, to play this out as it is meant to. So the fact is that not everything is predestined like you think. Much of it does depend upon your willingness to surrender. And so this is why we are sharing today. Our another has chosen, at her own financial, emotional, psychological, physical, spiritual, and energetic expense, she has chosen to allow us to use her as a vessel, even though she has nothing really to gain and everything to lose. So now you think, well, what does she have to lose? Well, the practical reality is she came from the financial world, and she is an attorney. Now, do you really think that, given what she has channeled and shared, that she would be welcomed back into that community with open arms? Probably not. She'd be a laughingstock, let's be honest, right? Because she has been willing to step outside of her comfort zone, but more importantly, the professional expectations of what it is to be in the financial world, as well as to be an attorney. Then there's the fact that she has her financial, emotional, psychological, and respective disabilities and limitations. And so by putting herself out there like this, there's always a risk that somebody could say that she's crazy or dangerous or, whatever it is. The point that we're getting at is that to step out in faith as she has and to channel the things that we have asked her to channel it puts her at risk in many different ways, right? She generates no income off of this. She spends an immense amount of time every day on, number one, learning how to improve how to be a channel by communicating with us and perfecting her skill, giving free readings to others, generating virtually no income off of this yet because it's just not time yet. But nonetheless, she continues to do this, and she simply trusts that there is something greater in store. And because of this trust, we know that we can use her. We can trust her. We can utilize her because she has done everything out of a real sense of self-sacrifice. Because she has nothing really to gain from this. She has no evidence that she's going to have anything to gain from this. She gets very little feedback from the community at large out there in the what we call the internet world. We just asked her to start a YouTube channel. She has blocked comments because it's not the right time, so she's not getting any feedback there either. And so for all she knows, there are 6 or 10 or 15 of you all out there watching and listening and learning, and she's spending, not literally, but 24/7 on this endeavor to become the best intuitive that she can to help humanity to transcend wherever it is that you guys are at right now. So this is why we have chosen her in particular for this particular message, because we really do trust her. We trust that she has no agenda, no hidden agenda or expressed agenda. She just simply wants to be what we ask her to be. She wants to be loved by others. She wants to be seen as trustworthy and loving and pure and holy, so to speak. That she just really has the best interests of others at heart. She is now finally, a little late in life, learning how to set healthy boundaries so that she can repel those people who are out there to harm her, hurt her. But it's, they've taught her a valuable lesson, which is that not everybody is trustworthy. So now she can speak up and say, this doesn't feel good, and the other person can either alter their behavior or they can walk away, and she's okay with people walking away because she's learning to overcome her abandonment issues. Because if somebody walks away, it has nothing to do with her own inner worth, but only the other person's inability to resonate with where she's at. It's that simple. And within this very simplistic explanation is the energetic frequency and formula of what it means to come into your own vibrational expectation, that your soul has a particular desire to become itself in this super energetic stew of the collective. And so how do you remain yourself while you are in this energetic soup without losing your own identity? It is by setting clear and healthy boundaries, creating a fence, if you will, around who you are while being part of the collective and doing your part if you are interested in helping others to grow. So now we go back to the very beginning of the message, which is, why does she receive particular messages that other people don't? And it's because it aligns with her desire to help humanity in a particular way. And hers is to literally guide people, teach people on a daily basis, right? Like a daily affirmation or a daily prayer book or whatever it is. The practical reality is that many of you are struggling. And if you were to go to a psychic, right, because that's what many of you call them, but we prefer the term medium. If you were to go to a medium and they were to read your energy for that day and give you some general guidelines, predictions on what the future holds for you. Well, during this time right now where the energetic imprint is so fluid, flexible, volatile, there are a lot of things that are shifting. If you get a message on day 1, but the energy has already changed by day 5 dramatically, but you continue to hold on to that message as truth that you got on day 1, you also get lost, as much as if you knew nothing and were trying to figure this out. So her goal is to create enough information for the collective so that you're constantly informed of what the flux and energy looks like, so that you can adjust and dance with the new dancers that arrive, as well as improving or building upon the foundation of the energetic knowledge that you have. And so she spends a lot of time every day preparing for the messages that come from us, feeling a lot of pain that she is releasing for the collective in order for you all to heal. So she bears the burden or the brunt of many of these emotional releases, and trust us, it's not easy. And then thirdly, she just gets a joy in knowing that even if none of you ever read or see or hear any of her messages that she is still doing her part that she feels is important. And this is why we honor her and will continue to support her in all the ways that she needs to, because her intentions are pure. She just literally wants to offer the universe access to whatever it is that we are willing to channel through her, so that you all, if so, interested, can connect to these vibrational messages to attune your own inner being to be more in harmony or resonance with where you all are going, and so that your journey would be a little easier, a little bit more structured, that you would understand a little better what's coming on now, that you are less in a fearful mode, that you have more of a trusting vibration, that it will all be okay as a whole for most people, and that you really are on a journey to something much greater, and that you just all hold on, put your seatbelts on, and hold on to that oh shit bar as tightly as you can, screaming "we" as you're going down the roller coaster of life. It is going to get more volatile and scary in the coming days, weeks, and months, but it's all to get you to where you all have collectively asked to go. And it's just a destruction of the old, as we have described, in order to move into the new. And she is just wishing to be part of the collective channeling energies out there that does their part to help to offer this information to those who are interested. So this is a long-winded way of saying, if this is something that you desire to do, you can request that you join our multi-level marketing group. Of course, being Smart Alex here, that you can just simply ask the spirit world to guide you to do your part if you are so interested. And you can pray to Jesus, you can pray to whomever it is that you feel comfortable. You do not have to step outside of your religious zone to the extent that it is love-based. And we will work on bubbling up all of the fear-based resolutions that have somehow been buried within your psyche. And as you release those things which no longer serve you nor humanity, then we will create a pure, energetic body that can offer these services to humanity as well. But we first need to really clear out your filter, and it's just a journey, is all we're saying. And you have seen our another go through much of this, and it's not easy, but she's almost at the tail end. And once you do get to that space, life does clear out. You look at the water that comes from your faucet, and it's no longer brown with all the gunk that you are now clearing out. It turns back to clear, and it tastes sweet, and it's very nourishing and hydrating. And so this is just an invitation for those who are interested in joining the team to create a better future. You just simply say, okay, I think I'm willing. Just do it in a gentle, kind, loving way, and give me the option to back out if it's not something that I want to do, because it's not what I think it is. But yeah, I am curious. I'm curious to explore a little bit what humanity has to offer at this point in this particular fashion. So a very long-winded way of saying, please join our spirit-inspired evolutionary adaptive program to help to guide and shift humanity from the old construct to the new, because we're going there. But the more cheerleaders that we have on the side cheering everyone on, the easier the process and the more enjoyable the process will be for humanity. And so it is. Namaste.